It's Andy. Andy and I are buddies for a long time, and Andy was actually one of my first students for our 3-day weekend masterclass, and so he was kind of a guinea pig for that, right? And how'd it go?
That went great. I
Yeah.
got a beautiful table out of it, lots of compliments, and I want to tear more things up and build new things now.
Cool. So that's what's inspiring you. That table you made was perfect because it had old barnwood salvaged wood in it, so it had the classic age, and then you used the copper detail, which is really rich and beautiful, and then you had kind of a modern flair running with it, so it turned out beautiful, and now you've got another project in your house.
Yeah, I'm thinking about starting a new project based off of that table.
Walk me through it.
So what I have, Tim, in that photo above the fireplace, I always look above it and just thought, I always get comments on that copper strip on that table.
Yeah, I bet.
Maybe I should do that above the fireplace and just kind of make it look like anything that would be wood, but with copper. And then I just happened to talk to Erica, and I said, my problem is I'm trying to decide what's the best way to attach that. One, if it's not turning out when I do it.
How much damage you're going to do to the wall.
Yeah, how much damage am I going to do to the wall when I take it down? Yep, here we go. We're going for a ride here.
Oh, I'm getting a little seasick.
Uh-oh.
Put down my whiskey.
Kind of some wall space above it. It's not as marvelous. Some custom table that was built from some guy's shop in Arizona.
In 3 days. Yeah. First of all, it's a cool piece. It's in the corner. It could really be a feature in that room, but it's kind of dead right now. It's not really exciting. It just kind of sits there in the corner. You have that very boring mantle.
Yep, and the mantle, one thing I was thinking about is getting the copper up behind it first, and then I would wrap it in the barnwood.
Perfect. I like the look. It's a lot of copper. I think if you put copper up there in boards, and then you put some other clock or piece of art or something, you don't just leave it completely copper.
Yeah, something will be. The other thing I thought about is just getting one big piece and doing a whole crinkle.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could get a piece of copper that big.
In one of our last ones, we were down to the wire and we were staging, and it was way late at night. The reveal was the next morning, and it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock at night. And I was still on the site, even though I had to be there for the reveal, all chipper and, man on camera. And we got done with the fireplace, and we didn't have any artwork above the fireplace. And nice in there. You see that?
Oh yeah, you did a little.
Yeah. So what you see up above there is.
That's your classic insert that you do.
Yeah, except it's a crinkle copper like you were suggesting. But it was one of our tabletops from our house. We just unscrewed the tabletop, brought it down, and screwed it to the wall, hung it on the wall as a piece of art.
Copper, like when we anodized it on my table, it got pretty, dark.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to give it a huge sheen, just pull it through a little bit.
Yeah, but darken it and then pull more of the dark back off, you're saying? So there's more copper? Yeah.
But not this blazing copper piece when you walk in.
I looked like I was cheating and like I was ready for this, but my wife actually made this, so I can't take credit for it. But you see how she put the little wood slats in between?
That's pretty cool.
And she did the different size pieces of copper. It gives it a little more. And this is a copper board. She made this as just a piece of art for our show. But this is an idea that you could do on that vertical, so it's not all solid copper.
Gotcha.
You like that?
I do.
And that she pulled a lot more of the dark out of it, so you can see a lot more copper look. But you can see how it breaks it up and gives a little more interest in that, than just a solid copper panel. And you know what? I was buying the copper in wide rolls, 36-inch wide, but you can just buy a little 12-inch sleeve, and it'll just come to you about 12 inches wide, and pull all your boards out of that.
And what's the finish of that wood? Is it just stained?
This is raw. She just has one light coat of spray on.
Okay.
She kept making mistakes, so she had to join them, but you wouldn't have to do that.
I screwed it up so bad, Andy.
That's horrible.
It turned out beautiful. It's sexy.
Yeah.
Look at that.
No, it's super nice.
So this is something you could do there, but then this would tie into your barnwood mantle. Yeah, do the math, figure it out, lay it out, and see what works. But I think that works really good for.
Now, see how you just had that board?
Yeah.
What about designing that and then just slapping it up there when it's time?
You mean build it ahead of time and just put it in place and screw it to the wall?
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to do it.
Because if not, how would you typically go drill through your copper to attach to the wall, or would you just glue everything piece by piece?
I would put it on a 1/4-inch backing. This is on a 1/2-inch backing,
Yeah.
but you don't need that strength because you're going to be up against the wall. I would find where the studs are. Where you only need like 4 screws that hit a stud. You don't need much. Yeah. But if you could get your studs and make those where you can go through the wood and get a stud and not through the copper.
Not through the copper, yeah.
You could hide this as nail holes. There's a nail hole right here. So if you can make a fake nail hole where a screw is, and it just looks like a nail hole barnwood.
Yeah.
So that's the way you can cheat around that. The 1/4-inch board, and you make it fit up in there, and you go, oh, this fits good, and then you make yours fit that. You'll need to come up with some trim on the sides because there will be some dimension away from the wall.
Yeah.
But that trim could be barnwood as well, mitered barnwood. So you see how it all kind of ties in together, and then it goes down to the barnwood shelf. I would do the barnwood mantle first and then put that up there and then trim down to it. Yeah. So with the barnwood on the mantle, those little thin wire pin nails we used, and the nailers cost like $89, so it's not expensive. So you could buy one of those little pin nailers and you can shoot that on there with no glue or nothing. And if you pulled it back off, the nails would disappear. There'd be no evidence it ever happened.
Okay.
That's the way you kind of get away with that.
How do copper rivets work going into wood? Just for looks, or is there any way to attach? Does it just pull?
There wouldn't be. They make copper nails, but they wouldn't do you any good. You'd be nailing big nails into the wood.
So anything with that's just for look then? Yeah,
which I'm a big fan of that. What you're thinking as far as doing some details, I've got those Indian head, buffalo head nickels and things like that. You can even see the Indian head on the back side of that nickel right there. Pounded and turned into nails. Like you could do a detail on the front edge of that fireplace mantle by adding, some conchos and some.
They actually have some copper tacks on that website that might be kind of cool to put into the barnwood.
That's a neat look, to be able to add that in. I like that. Yeah, so if you make your 1/4-inch plywood panel and you just keep testing it until it fits, that's your perfect pattern to make the rest of it onto that.
Now, would you do full boards, or would you kind of do like that staggered, kind of like when you see a wood floor where you have a long board, short, long?
I think you see that in houses. I'm sure you see it. They're doing one decorative barnwood wall, and they do the staggered short pieces and all that stuff. I think that's a fad. I think it has a lifespan. The way I've always designed furniture is I design furniture that doesn't ever go out of style. It's not, grays are in this year, so let's make every piece of furniture gray. And then 2 years from now, it's like, well, gray's not in anymore, and you got to get rid of your furniture. But if you make your furniture really rich and classic and beautiful and timeless, I think going full floor to ceiling and putting the slats in between is timeless. It's not just a fad. What she did here with the different thicknesses, a 6, a 4, and then a 6, and then another 4. I kind of like that rather than just all the same width.
I'll just bring my fireplace to your house, and we'll get it done next week.
There you go. Cool. Well, I think you got yourself a project. Now you have to stop and take pictures along the way.
I appreciate the time. I'll order some stuff up and make a mess. Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah. Fun one.
Next time you get up to Durango, let me know.